Hey everyone, JCS StarCraft here, bringing you Game 2 of the quarterfinals between BratOK and White-Ra for the Go4SC2 number 33 Weekly Cup. And action getting started here on Lost Temple. BratOK spawning as the red Terran in the 6 o'clock position, and White-Ra spawning as the blue Protoss. So I think they changed colors between these matches at the 3 o'clock position. So White-Ra up 1-0 right now. Both players very friendly with each other. Both players some of the top in StarCraft 2 right now. BratOK, one of my favorite Terran players to watch. And White-Ra, of course, one of the most famous and dominant Protoss players out in the game right now. Both players, of course, BratOK was supposed to be one of the IEM Season 5 players, one of the 16 that was selected or qualified for it. However, he did have visa issues and was unable to attend. It ended up that his replacement, Muro, who I guess you could call number 17 to be invited, did end up winning the entire thing. And White-Ra right now getting a very lucky scout going on, is able to scout his opponent immediately. Not sure if that's going to change his strategy at all. Deciding whether or not he wants to really get in there and do the harass this early. There's nothing really to harass as no one's really building any units, unfortunately. And I think BratOK going to be able to detect that his opponent is either here at the 9 or, you know, just came straight from the 3 o'clock position. So finally getting the harassment on, kind of mandatory for this probe to wait until he can get his harass going. Pulling away so that he doesn't take any damage while his shields are recharging. And it looks like BratOK going to be scouting. I'm curious to see where he wants to scout to immediately. Looks like he will be going for the 3 o'clock position. I'm guessing that that's the very quick scout coming in from White-Ra. So BratOK again opting for the looks like he again opted for that early refinery to get out before, and orbital slowly getting built. I think at this point, trying to macro a few things here and there. We're waiting for that first Marine to come out. So orbital at 16 instead of 15. Wanted to get that Marine so he can get that scouting done. Meanwhile, this lone SCV is going to be attacking that pylon, but not going to be able to do significant amounts of damage to it. And it looks like Chrono Boost going down for White-Ra. Really wants to get that early pressure out there. This Zealot going to, in the last game, the same thing. They spawned in pretty close positions on the map, and BratOK right now kind of wants to hold off and choke off this area so that the Zealot will have somewhere to, the Marine at least can hide behind. But this time definitely getting his Marines out just a little bit faster before the Zealot comes in here. Zealot shouldn't be too much of a problem at this point. And now Factory is going down for BratOK as well. And it looks like the Cybernetic core being tucked away in the back, the position that White-Ra does like for his Cyber core, and poor SCV runs into the corner and just explodes. So right now it looks like, where did that, oh, the Zealot is having a little battle back here with the Marines, and shouldn't be able to do too much damage if the Marines are able to run around, and SCV is coming in to reinforce, all the Marine popping out. The probe tried to join the battle, tried to pretend that it was a really strong unit, but died as well. So Factory going down, and second gas going down for BratOK. Curious to see whether or not he's going to change his unit composition for this game, and also curious to see what White-Ra is going to do as well. Looks like second, no, going to go 1 gate robo. Wow, just changing these up a little bit from the previous game, where I think he went for 2 gates first and then went for the 3 gate robo. So should be pretty interesting play from White-Ra. BratOK going to be throwing down a tech lab on his factory, and might not be going, last game he did not. He had a bare factory pretty much a good amount of the game. Might be doing a swap at this point. Does favor Mirage here, but is able to hold off a little bit better than Kulos because he has that cliff. A little bit of micro right there, pulling back and getting it down to 1 HP before he can pull away, maximizing his damage, of course, and is going to be doing a swap with the starport right now. Looks like he's going to be pushing out for the Banshees as soon as possible against his opponent, and it looks like the Robo Bay goes down first, followed by the 2 gateways for White-Ra right now, and trying to get that really early observer out so that he will be able to detect and fight off that Banshee no problem. This bunker placement for BratOK, his favorite bunker placement, a very good spot, because you really can, if your opponent is going some sort of 4 gate, use the bunker here and then place down 2 supply depots as needed. And I think BratOK right now detecting, or maybe thinking, that his opponent is going with some sort of 3-gate, 4-gate robo like in the previous game. So going to be pumping out a whole bunch of units very quickly and going to be pushing across the map. So trying to choke down as best he can right here. These supply depots will be vulnerable later down into the game as they are out in the middle of nowhere. And it looks like BratOK going to be getting, where is that Banshee? Where did it go? Was it blasted away? Looking at the unit tab, yes, the Banshee has already suffered a a poor death, and Raven is going to come out, so that observer not going to be going anywhere and exploding right now down. Meanwhile, White-Ra is going to be taking his expo at this point, has run into the base, saw that BratOK was turtling down, so doesn't really need to worry too much about some heavy defenses at the moment. And meanwhile, BratOK going to be just pumping out a whole bunch of Marines right now. Is he going to be throwing down that Ghost Academy? Looking at the income tab this game, it looks like White-Ra still ahead in the harvester count. Has been just pumping them out the entire time, so 31 to 26. Looks like BratOK is slowly getting that advantage, taking back, and just going to be going mass Marines at this point. Looking like he is going to be getting stim. Does not have, now going to be doing a swab. Knows that that Banshee push early on failed, and so might be trying to force his opponent to get some more detection at his base. White-Ra now going to be doing the transfer over and going to be pushing in with his forces right now. Does have an observer, does see that the bunker did go down, and the observer is giving sight on the high ground, although that Raven very critical for getting rid of that observer so that White-Ra doesn't have any vision on the high ground and can't really attack from below. So BratOK able to keep that cliff to his advantage. Now streaming out a few more Marauders, although Concussive Shell isn't being researched just yet, as Stim is still yet to finish. And BratOK now just going to be still opting for a big bio ball and getting his expansion a little bit later than than White-Ra. Sorry, just reading the name really quickly. Getting a little bit later than White-Ra. White-Ra right now focusing on saturating his natural and going to be holding off pretty well. Does have a few pylons out in case there's any sort of crazy drop going on. Looking at the army tab, White-Ra still ahead, 78 right now to 63 in terms of army count. Concussive Shell is being researched at this point, and it looks like a Robo Bay being thrown down, so should be seeing Colossus coming out on the field. Great force field placement, BratOK unable to kite at this moment, something that he desperately needs to do. Marines are just getting trapped in there, and unfortunately point drone defense being thrown down to absorb something. There aren't that many, there are only 2 stalkers out on the field right now, so most of that point defense isn't going to be able to, but BratOK meanwhile is going to be doing a drop from the top, isn't able to do as much damage as he wanted to, as there were already defenses being warped in right there. And this pylon placement for White-Ra, giving him just that early warning so that he can have some units to defend against this Marine drop and not have his economy go down pretty badly. So it looks like the first Colossus is already coming out for White-Ra, as well as research for Thermal Lance, and that's just going to